we took the 12 meeting calendar that had been set up prior and condensed it into the 8 meeting to correspond to the upcoming meeting schedule for next year. And then we missed the October meeting, so the things from October will be put in the agenda when those next cycles come around, which is January for new fare payment and July for the other things.
So good afternoon. Mike Wetherell, Vice President and Chief Mechanical Officer, and today I will be presenting NYCT's update on the subway car capital program. This report focuses on 4 elements of the NYCT car program: the R188 purchase for the Flushing CBTC and number 7 line extension, the R179 purchase, which was awarded on June 4th, 2012, the R160 purchase, which is in closeout, and the R211 purchase, which is entering the design phase. We have the presentation. Okay. In the book, so we can move ahead. Very good. Okay, thank you. The R188 car purchase is needed to provide for Flushing Line CBTC operation and related service increases, as well as the extension of the number 7 line on Manhattan's far west side. The project is on schedule and there are no significant issues at this time. Flushing number 7 line trains have 11 cars. The line currently operates with 32 peak hour trains. With CBTC and number 7 West extension, there will be a need for 38 peak hour trains. Including spares, the overall fleet need on this line grows from 37 to 46 trains. The R188 project is a mix of new 11 car trains, 8 in total, and converted R142A trains, 38 in total. Conversion of the 142A cars was determined to be the most practical option because of their age, about 10 years, and better adaptability to the CBTC technology. The base contract was awarded on May 28, 2010 to Kawasaki Railcar. The option was awarded on December 30, 2011. The budget for the base is $116.5 million and the option is $497.2 million, totaling $613.7 million. To date, 10 converted R142A cars have been delivered and are undergoing qualification tests. The first single C car was delivered as scheduled in November of this year for placement with the 10 R142A conversion cars delivered in December 2011 to form an 11-car converted train. As of November 16th, 71 cars are in production at Kawasaki facilities. The factory inspections and qualification test process continues over the next 6 months. Delivery of the base order cars will be completed by the end of 2012. Complete car qualification testing has started on the new cars at KRC's facilities in Yonkers. As a matter of fact, the first full train of new cars will arrive this week at New York City Transit. This schematic was previously shown at CPOC and is repeated to remind CPOC members of the unique R188 train configurations. Each R188 train is made up of 2 operating units, one with 5 cars and one with 6 cars. The number 7 line trains will be equipped with communications-based train control operating equipment, which will be installed in the A cars. Support equipment such as tachometers to track the position of the train will be installed in the C cars. This is true for the new trains as well as the converted trains. Shown here is the cumulative delivery schedule for all new and converted 188 cars as per the contract. The chart combines the new cars and the converted cars. We plan to begin testing 2 new trains and 1 converted train by the end of 2012. Conditional acceptance of these 3 trains is anticipated to be in May 2013. These will be available for the testing of car-borne CBTC equipment in line with the CBTC project scheduled date of October 2013. The first new option train is scheduled for delivery in May 2013. The 8 new trains to support increased service requirements are forecasted to be conditionally accepted in advance of the revenue service date for the number 7 line extension, which is June 2014. Delivery of all trains, new and converted, will be completed by January 2016. This is well before the forecasted CBTC completion date of November 2016. This chart summarizes the R188 major activities pending. The base order for 23 new cars and conversion of 10 R142A cars is presently on schedule with the major milestones shown. The first new single C car for the converted train scheduled to be delivered in early November 2012 has been delivered. Delivery of the 2 base order new trains is anticipated to be before the end of December 2012. And as I mentioned, the first one's to be delivered this week. The option order is for 103 new cars and conversion of 370 R142A cars. The option was awarded at the end of 2011 and is on schedule. The R179 project was awarded on June 4th, 2012 to Bombardier Transit Corporation. The R179 purchase is for 300 new 60-foot subway cars, which are designed based on the successful R160 cars. The R179 cars are needed to replace the remaining 222 R32 and 50 R42 cars, the oldest cars operating in the B Division fleet. The purchase will also support plans for providing trains for anticipated service increases on various B Division lines, as well as the opening of the 2nd Avenue Subway Phase 1. 300 60-foot cars were purchased rather than the 340 originally planned. This change was a reflection of further analysis that right-sized the fleet in relation to ridership demand. The R179 program's master program schedule was approved September 27, 2012. The technical specification review was completed in September 2012. The final R160 cars were delivered on May 6, 2012. The R160 fleet was delivered within the $3.25 billion budget and on schedule. The R160 fleet continues to have the highest mean distance between failures in New York City transit history. The September 2012 12-month MDBF was 645,207 miles. The October MDBF was 769 miles. All cars are now out of the 2-year general warranty period. There are some field modifications ongoing prior to closing out the contract in June 2013.
Mike?
Yes.
In your previous slide on the R179, one more back.
Thank you.
Those were coming, they're not coming basically until 2017, and they're replacing the 32s and the 42s. If you looked in today's transit book, the MDBF on the 42s is not very good, so I hope they're going to last that long. That's all I can say.
Yes, and the 42s get limited service right now. But yes, the 32s and the 42s both are worst performing cars. Okay. NYCT is moving forward with the R211 car class with a strategic goal of enhancing the customer's experience while increasing operational efficiency and optimizing the total cost of vehicle ownership. The overall need is to award the replacements for the aging R46 fleet in the 2015-2019 capital program. The R11 goals include providing world-class communications, a greener design, and increased standardization of parts and components. The R211 program is in the initial stages of the design phase. The master plan for the pre-award design phase was approved. Currently, an RFP process is ongoing for the selection of a technical consultant to support the necessary technical alternatives analysis and specification writing. Best and final offers were received in October, and following the Transit Authority's evaluation process, the award is submitted for the MTA Board approval at the November meeting, with a goal to award by the end of 2012. This process will lead to the technical specifications for the purchase of the new generation of NYCT vehicles proposed for a 2015 award. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon. In our review of the schedule and budget for this program, we're pleased to see the commitment to the start of testing in the fourth quarter of next year. This is also, besides being an important milestone for the car program, this is a critical milestone for the success of the CBTC Flushing Line program, which will be looking for its first fully equipped test train in the beginning of the year. We found no budget issues at this time. And basically, we're pleased with the program's progress, and there are no issues at all to bring before the committee.
Any questions before we move on to vote?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. The independent consultant and you mentioned the first test train of the 188s coming on the property end of this year, early in January. Has CBTC fully been built along the Flushing Line as of this time? I don't think it has it?
It's still under production.
When is that anticipated to be completed? Yeah.
That was a seven-year program, which began 2000. I think it's somewhere around 16, 17. Andrew, is when CBTC
Will be
Flushing
fully implemented on the Flushing Line.
Correct. If
So
you want
you're
an exact date, I can get you the exact date.
So you're
but
not going to get the additional numbers of trains per hour until it's fully implemented, I assume.
Right.
There's actually two phases. The extension of number 7 is going to increase the number of trains, but the CBTC is going to increase the.
So the test train that's coming in January is going to show you what if we don't have CBTC fully installed yet?
Well, for the extension of the number 7 line, we need the additional trains, and so Kawasaki is building 8 new train sets, and so we'll be proving that design, and also the C cars that they're going to insert into the converted R142A cars.
That's what it's going to show you. Okay, thanks.
just to be clear, the C cars, as Mike said, contain a new tachometer. The current L train has an osmosis system, which has not been very effective. So the C car will have a new tachometer system. And the testing will also include braking because it is an unpowered axle in order for the new tachometer process. They'll be testing in terms of braking distances and confirming everything.
Now moving along to bus procurement report, Henry Sullivan. Henry?
Thank you, Mr. Loader. Good afternoon. Okay, next slide. Today we will briefly update you on our primary goals, where we are with our evaluation fleets, as well as the status of our current bus contracts. And finally, we will provide you with our target dates to award all buses in the remaining 2010 to 14 capital program. Our mission is to provide reliable bus service for our customers by buying new buses that meet our duty cycle needs at the lowest cost. Our goal is to replace buses that have exceeded their useful life and to provide the required number of buses to make daily service. We are achieving these goals by evaluating different manufacturers' fleets of buses. This will help qualify multiple vendors for competitive bids in the future. More bidders participating in the bid process will result in better pricing and better bus service. In addition to qualifying more manufacturers, our purpose is also to find out what equipment and what combinations of systems work better for us in terms of reliability, maintainability, cost, and warranty. We continually adjust our bus specifications through lessons learned, as mentioned here. It is mission critical that we replace our buses after 12 years of useful life. Previous test results conducted by an independent consultant on a variety of routes in North America environment and on New York City transit routes revealed the following. Altoona, the FTA test track, was a representative of the average urban duty cycle. Chicago, in comparison to the Altoona test track, was 2 times as severe. Toronto, in comparison to Altoona, was 2 times as severe. New York City Transit B35 was 2 times as severe as Chicago and Toronto, 4 times as severe as Altoona. This is just one example of how different our duty cycle is compared to other properties. Next slide. This table shows the status of all of our bus contracts, those awarded and those yet to be awarded. Our plan is to buy approximately 2,500 buses. Most of them are funded from the 2010 to 2014 capital program, but 144 are from the remaining funds under the 2005 to 09 program. To date, we have received 865 buses. The plan is to have all buses delivered no later than 2015. Please note that most of the buses for the MTA, 205 of the 284 buses, are federally funded. The FTA requires both pre-award and post-award audits for the manufacturers to ensure compliance to the 60% Buy America requirements for rolling stock purchases. When 100% local funds are used, we follow New York State Public Authorities Law for local content preference. Next slide. In 2015, the fleet will consist of 15% RTICs, up from the current 12. This is due to SBS and route conversions. Standard 40-foot clean diesels will be 25%, down from the current 28%, whereas hybrids will remain the same at 29%. The number of standard CNGs will increase slightly, but will remain at 13% of the fleet. And finally, Express will remain the same at 18%. Next slide. This slide shows we have approximately 1,400 buses older than 12 years of age. In 2015, when all new buses in the approved capital program are in service, we will still have more than 500 buses in the fleet past their useful life expectancy. This is about 9% of the total fleet, and due to their age, these buses cost more to maintain. The overall average fleet age, however, will decrease from 7.5 to 6.3. Note, the 521 buses range from 13 to 16 years of age, and the latter will be 17 years old before they can be retired. Next slide. Now I will update you on our evaluation fleets. For clean diesel standards, we awarded 3 different contracts for a total of 270 buses. All buses have been delivered and evaluated except for one New Flyer bus being equipped with a Navistar engine. This bus is expected in January. All 3 manufacturers have been qualified. The evaluation results have determined that the MDBF and MPG performance for all 3 manufacturers has been significantly favorable. But as you know, Daimler has subsequently exited the marketplace. This leaves us with 2 qualified manufacturers, but we will continue to search for additional manufacturers to encourage more competition in the future. The MDBF of these test fleets averaged out to 12,410 miles for the year to date, whereas the old fleet was only 2,800 MDBF. System average right now is at a record high of 45.58. As far as fuel economy goes, the new fleet is 3.3 miles per gallon, and the bus it's replacing is 2.63. This evaluation fleet has given us valuable data for improving our fleet. One item is to improve fuel economy. For an example, one transmission manufacturer had a 7% better fuel economy than the competitor. We called the competitor in and showed them the data. They came back with a different shift pattern program, and the fuel economy is now the same. We would have never been able to increase the fuel economy without this head-to-head comparison. If we have 0.2 of a gallon fuel economy improvement in our entire fleet, we would save over $8 million annually. Next slide. As for express buses, we awarded 1 contract for 90 buses made by Prevost. All 90 buses were received by January of 2012, and the evaluation was completed August of 2012. The results have allowed us to qualify this vendor for future bid solicitations. The next procurement of express buses, to be by mid of 2013, will be our first competitive express procurement since we started purchasing over-the-road express buses in 1998.
Henry, I'm sorry. Where are Prevost buses built?
They're built in Canada.
They're also in Canada.
They've started bringing work into New York and up in the Plattsburgh facility. And the next contract, they're going to do more and more, and the goal is by 2015 to have 60% USA content, and their goal is to do it in New York.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question, please, about the three, including the Daimler bus?
Yes.
At the time that the Daimler bus was proposed, the then chairman, Jay Waldo, allowed as how an incentive, a compensation incentive, would be awarded to Daimler and one of the others as a way of inducing additional competition. Did it induce additional competition? Has it been pursued further? What is the status?
I think you're referring to the New York State content?
I'm referring to just that he did this experimental program. This board heard it, and there was a disparity in price under which there was a benefit awarded to Daimler and the other one, the one other than, I think it was Flyer, it may have been the Nova, but there was a favorable disparity, and we were told that it was in order to induce additional competition.
Steve Pachaki can
Yeah,
address the procurement issue.
Under our laws, Public Authority Law 1209, when we use a negotiated procurement, we're able to offer a benefit to companies that have New York State content. And we have done that in the past on competitive procurements, and we certainly intend to when we compete for the upcoming awards.
And did that benefit in any way attract additional competition?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, Nova Bus in particular opened up a plant in Plattsburgh focusing in on that particular issue, recognizing that doing business in New York, opening a plant in New York would benefit their opportunity during competitive procurement.
Thank you.
Okay. The Prevost year-to-date MDBF is 12,300, as compared to the bus it's replacing is 5,400. Bus is performing very well. The miles per gallon is 3.72, and the bus it's replacing is 3.34. Next slide. For our TIC buses, we awarded 2 contracts. One was for 90 buses from Nova. All 90 buses were delivered by June of 2010. The results of the evaluation determined that these new buses provide improved MDBF reliability and fuel economy. The 2010 Nova TIC's MDBF is currently 5,600 year-to-date, and the bus it's replacing is 2,200. Fuel economy in the MPG for the 2010 Nova TIC's is 2.67, and the bus it's replacing is 1.90. Next slide, please. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt again. Some of our newest articulated buses are now 3-door buses.
Yes.
Is that the intention to buy more 3-door buses? Has the boarding and a lighting procedure been
Yes.
streamlined to the point where it's better to have that than more seats?
We're buying 3-door buses. We're using it in SBS route. As you open up the door, all 3 doors open up.
Yeah.
We have a switch where you can run it in normal, limited, regular service, where the operator controls the doors by himself.
Huh.
So he can open 1, 2, or 3.
So
we're only
the
gonna
3
buy
doors
3
has
doors.
proven a boon to loading the buses, obviously.
Yes, and we didn't want to have more specialty fleets where I couldn't move an TIC from one route to another. So we had the flexibility of increasing SBS service or specialty.
Are these RTICs only going to be used in SBS service?
No, they're
Well,
in.
then you run the risk of having people going in the rear doors,
No,
don't
the
you?
bus driver can control it. He can just open the front door.
But as people are leaving,
As people are leaving, he can open up the rear doors.
he can control which only door is opening.
Yes, you can open 1, 2, or 3 doors, the operator.
How about-
Yes, that could happen. Okay, slide 9. I will now update you on all bus contracts currently in progress. We have found technical issues with the pilot bus and have put new flyer on notice that these issues must be corrected prior to accepting the second bus. The second evaluation fleet for low floor TICs was just awarded in September. It was only awarded 2 months ago because it required approval from the Office of the State Controller, since it is a sole source contract over $1 million. Deliveries are scheduled to be completed by the second quarter of 2013. This will allow us adequate time to perform the evaluation before we award the remaining RTICs funded in the 2010 to 14 program, 256 for the Transit Authority and 72 for the MTA Bus Company. Next slide. For express buses, we awarded a purchase of 54 MCI over-the-road coach express in July of 2012. The first bus has been delivered, and all buses will be delivered by early first quarter of 2013. Next slide. For CNGs, we have a contract for 171 new Flyer CNG 40-foot standards in place. All 171 have been delivered. The buses are experiencing very good MDBF, much better than the buses they are replacing. The new CNGs have an MDBF of 8,400, and the buses they're replacing are 3,605. The MPG equivalent for the new bus is 2.37, and the MPG equivalent for the bus it's replacing is 2.06. It should be noted that we are requesting to exercise an option under this contract for an additional 14 buses due to an increase in CNG service requirements. Next slide.
I have a vague recollection, and this is certainly not my area of expertise, but that CNG was not a technology that we were going to be pursuing vigorously into the future. Even the reasons now escape me, I'm afraid. Maybe Andrew can be more specific, but is this a change of policy, or am I misremembering?
We're not expanding CNG service beyond the depots that have that capability right now. We're just maintaining the CNG buses in the depots that had the capital investment already. So we're not increasing the amount of garages, and we're not putting a huge capital investment into the other facilities. We're just maintaining CNG buses in the depots that have the fuel system now.
And operationally, they pass muster.
Yes.
Relative to the low sulfur diesel.
Yes. We also awarded a contract for 74 CNG standards with Daimler. These buses are federally funded for MTA Bus. Contract was originally awarded December of 2011, but Daimler exited the bus market, and we therefore assigned the contract to New Flyer on July 25th, 2012. We also plan to exercise an option for an additional 15 buses by December of 2012 due to an increase in CNG service requirements. Deliveries for the 74 started in October of 2012 and will be completed for all 89 by the first quarter of 2013. Next slide. The last contract we have in progress is for 328 Nova RTICs. This project was awarded in June 2011 based on the results from the 90 bus evaluation discussed earlier. 235 buses have been delivered to date. There have been some slips in the deliveries. We've received a recovery plan, and production rate is back on schedule as of August 18th. We still expect all buses to be delivered on time by June of 2013. We've had reliability issues and poor MDBF. The manufacturer performed campaigns and has improved the performance and therefore increased MDBF reliability. Next slide. For all remaining buses to be awarded, we have achieved a significant milestone. This is the first time we will have competition for more than one manufacturer for every type of bus, despite the fact of losing Daimler from the marketplace. Our next two contracts will be for 690 clean diesel 40-foot standards and for 285 express buses. These projects were supposed to be awarded by December, but are now projected to be by June of 2013. The delay is primarily because of the time and resources needed to assign the federally funded contract for 74 CNGs to New Flyer. Existing resources from procurement, DOB New Bus, and law had to be redirected to address the numerous issues and risk factors associated with this contract from the time Daimler made their announcement in April to when it was assigned to New Flyer in July. However, we expect to get back on schedule by having all buses delivered as planned no later than 2015. This can be done by splitting the awards. The RFP is worded in such a way that the contract can be awarded to one proposer or split among the two qualified proposers as we deem to be the best value. Splitting the award will help accelerate the delivery schedule to get buses on board sooner. Next slide. This slide shows all the remaining buses approved in 2010 to 14 capital program. Again, we expect all buses to be in service before the end of 2015. Note that the 44 standards and 72 RTICs for MTA bus are funded with discretionary federal funds. The 256 RTICs are 100% local pool money.
Henry, am I missing it, or are there no hybrid electrics in any of these orders? Are we done with that technology?
There's no hybrid electrics in any of these orders.
Are we done with that technology?
We have enough hybrids now to fill all the local routes where they're most effective. So right now we have no plans on buying any in this program. Next slide. Let me say that over the last several years, we believe that we have taken the proper steps in trying to qualify more vendors for each type of bus by testing their products and systems under actual conditions. We have increased service reliability through improved MDBF, in which we have achieved the highest MDBF ever. We will continue to pursue advances in bus technology by improving buses as a business. Next slide. In closing, these are pictures of our new RTIC buses in SBS service. And moving forward, with your ongoing help and support, we will award all remaining buses approved in the capital programs. And we intend to continue supplying our customers with the best possible transportation services. At this point, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to address them.
The only question I have, and it clearly is, I think you've sort of addressed it, is that you view competition among vendors to be a benefit to the agency. Is there any significant give up in terms of things like inventory, interchangeability, and all of the things that would come with, consistency and fewer models, so to speak?
You do give up with the inventory levels. You have to have more inventory for multiple types of equipment. That's true. But the offset is if you have one component and you only have one manufacturer, they control the market. They won't put anything new on the bus. They want to keep giving you the same bus every year, year after year after year after year. You make no advances. By pushing them the way we did with the different tests and the head-to-head tests with the different components on the same bus, we got out of the situation of them saying that my bus is heavier than your bus, so you can't compare my transmission to this transmission, different AC units. I think it was really a benefit for the taxpayers in New York to do it this way.
That's a very cogent point. I really can see what you're talking about. Different manufacturers, you develop the competition. If you're just dealing with one or two, you're just basically new models of the same old piece of crap. Yeah.
Right.
Kent, do you want to give your presentation?
Yes, in our review of this program, we want to note first on schedule that historically there have been few problems with delivery of buses after the award is made, and we don't see any reason why that trend isn't going to continue with this program. Our concern is that the awards themselves have lagged the plan significantly. We have no budget issues to bring before the committee. Issues for the program, limited competition, we've just discussed pretty extensively. The timeliness of the award of the contracts, that's an issue because the delay in award means ultimately a delay in the delivery, and that means that the average age of the fleet increases and the operating costs accordingly. So we would bring that to the program's attention. And finally, we note that the 12-year maximum bus life is a goal, but with the current capital plan, there aren't enough replacements to meet that goal exactly. That's a strategic issue for the next capital program, I think. Our recommendations, to continue with the test fleet aspect of the procurement process, as was described earlier. It seems to be quite successful in weeding out problems and producing better equipment. We would also recommend that the program look at the award process itself to see where the choke points are and take the corrective action to get awards back on a more streamlined process.
Moving along to Metro North for the MA procurement report. Howard, you on board?
Yeah. Microphone?
All right. Could you hear me? Who I introduced, Seth and Tim. Let me walk you through the status of the M8 procurement and where we stand at the moment. So first off, that we have ordered with the state of Connecticut 405 M8 cars for both the New Haven line and Shoreline East. This is a major order. I should point out it will become the fleet for the New Haven line, so it's a very, very important procurement to Metro North. We started in 2006 with 210 base cars, 90 option cars. We got additional option cars, 80 more exercised in 10 and 11, and in August 2011 we had a change order for 25 single cars. Once this is done, this, as I mentioned, will be the New Haven line fleet. It will allow the retirement of all the older cars, which are fraught with problems, and it'll give us a single new fleet for the entire line. The contract is $1.1 billion. The state of Connecticut is about 68%, or almost $750 million, and we're $356 million. Actually, these numbers are a little bit out of date. As of today, we've had 172 delivered. 154 of them are in service every day. We still anticipate deliveries to be done by mid-2015. The deliveries are now fairly stable. There are about 10 cars a month. The project is about 1 year behind schedule based on the agreement we reached with Kawasaki in 2008. So again, this is a little outdated, but as of today, we are providing 46% of weekday service is now performed with M8 cars, and on the weekends, it's over 60% or greater. The MDBF is 121,000 miles year-to-date through September. This is beneath our expectations. However, it is fairly common in a new car order that until there's a break-in period, the performance lags what we ultimately think the steady state is. We are confident. We meet with Kawasaki very regularly. I'm confident that these numbers are going to come up. They're going to meet our targets. Just as way of background, when the M7s were built by Bombardier, similarly, there was a break-in period. Took us a while till the reliability moved up. Now it's an extremely reliable car. Its mean distance between failure some months is over 700,000 miles. So we are anticipating that the M8s will be moving up dramatically. The other thing is that we will be holding KRC financially responsible to fix the problems that are occurring during this break-in period. Customer reaction to these cars has been terrific. When we did the survey, our customer satisfaction survey this year, people, interestingly, who are on these cars were more satisfied with Metro North overall than people in the other cars. Similarly, when they were asked about the value of money, customers who were riding in M8 cars thought they were getting a much better deal than people who weren't. And then when we asked about features of cars, the M8 cars were consistently rated higher than all the other cars in the fleet in terms of things like cleanliness, restrooms, and train temperatures. The reaction, in addition, our customers have commented very positively on the interior decoration, amount of seats, the amount of space, the outlets at every seat, and these are some of the things that we hear on a regular basis about the cars. Extremely positive customer reaction. So, what are the issues?
Given that what I would call problematic MDBF, and I spoke with Bob this morning about the contacts. Are the problems that are resulting in those low MDBFs resolvable in a relatively short period of time, so those things are back on the rails?
Right. So the answer to that is yes. This is the listing of the issues here, and I'll talk about them. A couple of them have been solved. There are a couple of them that are still slightly longer in duration, but the major problems that were causing the lower MDBF are, well, one of them has been addressed and is the retrofit's complete. The other one is well on its way to being complete. So we're anticipating those numbers should start to go up fairly significantly in the months of October, November, and going forward. So these are the issues to Jim's question. One was we had an oversensitive automatic pantograph retraction. That meant the pantographs were coming down when they shouldn't have been. We put in new carbon strips, which are a part of the pantograph, were applied. That is actually, the fleet was completely retrofitted. It was just completed last week. So that's done. That'll be a major improvement. There's another issue on the pantographs that came about, which we saw in the snowstorm, the nor'easter, that affected certain freezing of components that did not allow the pantograph to come down when it should have. We believe we have a fix for that, and the entire fleet will be retrofitted in December. Cab signal test failures. Here, we would have issues, but when before a train could leave its terminal, there's new software that's being developed. That should be in place early next year. That'll address that issue. Unanticipated brake application, that's when the brakes went on when they shouldn't have. This is a case where we're still working with Kawasaki to determine the root cause and how we have to fix it. Finally, the auxiliary power system failures. Here we have a fix to it, and it's being applied as we speak. The cars are being retrofitted. Kawasaki is using the New Haven line. We have a shop up there owned by the state of Connecticut. It's being leased to Kawasaki, and they are now going through a retrofit program as we speak. 4 cars at a time are being retrofitted, and I anticipate they'll probably have at least one more round of retrofits to address these issues that we show up here. One of the things that we've done when we have a fix is we do 2 things. One is it has to be retrofitted on the cars that have already been delivered. Secondly, in Lincoln, where they're making the cars, those fixtures are put into the new cars. So to reduce down the road, we have less that we would have to retrofit. This was a slide we put in again. This has been delayed. We were very concerned about the slip slide season and how the M8s would do. Turned out the M8s were just about through that season, and M8s performed satisfactorily. We do have slip slide issues across Metro North, as you know, but these cars worked as well as there was no unusual problem with that. With regard to commercial issues, that's something that in litigation we want to talk to you in executive session. I don't know if you want to have the questions and Joe and the IEC and then do that, or?
Yeah, let's do the IEC. We'll go into executive session after. You're going to do it after everything else.
Yeah, however you, but if there are any questions or?
Let me just give a quick review. The schedule and budget considerations. The schedule is the big issue. The deliveries are 12 months behind plan, and not much has really changed in that report since the last time we reported to the committee on this project. We don't see any budget issues. The main issue being the delivery is behind. Recovery plan has been pointed out by the railroad is, I think, the most that can be expected at this time. Our recommendation at this point is to make sure there's a lessons learned exercise here to look back and see how project schedule management could be better managed in concert with I think, the very high quality of the engineering issue management that the President talked about earlier.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? There being none, next topic of discussion is our Gwen Carlson for MWBE participation.
Good afternoon. As of September 30th, DBE participation is at 15.1%, and it's slightly below the 17% DBE goal. DBE participation decreased between the second and third quarter. This is as a result of the DBE goal being reduced from 17% to 8% on a $56 million contract that required utility work to be performed by the contractor and Con Ed. Additionally, MWBEs received $50.3 million of the FTA funded projects. New York State has given the MTA the authority to claim credit for New York State certified MWBEs who perform work on federally funded projects. We currently have a 10% MBE goal requirement and a 10% WB goal requirement on New York State funded contracts. From January to September 2012, we are exceeding each. To date, we have achieved 11% MBE and 16% WBE goals on awarded contracts for a total of 27% MWBE participation. Are there any questions?
I'm sorry. Could you refer me to the, I'm sorry. Could you please refer me to the columns where you've gotten that number from?
Which number are you
The
referring?
27%?
Oh, that's when you total the two. When you look at the 11.3% and the 16.1%, it's about 27.4, and we just rounded it off to 27%.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you, Gwen. Neil, on the small business development program?
Good afternoon. Just to give a little bit of background, we already have in existence a small business mentoring program for 2 years, the Tier 1, and we have plans to start the Tier 2 in the small business mentoring program for a little larger projects. As part of that, we wanted to mirror the small business federal program, jumpstart the federal program, and we got an approval from the FTA back in August for jumpstarting that program. The key difference is from Tier 2 and this is that we'll have a DBE criteria of net worth limit for the participants in the program. The other same features are the contractors that are applying will not have revenues over $5 million average for the past 3 years. Their projects that we are going to put in the program are going to be up to $3 million, and the participant firms will be potentially bondable because this program does require a payment and performance bond. Based on prior board approval, we have already issued a notice to proceed to our construction manager TDX for limited program support. We have already put the website up for our entire small business development programs, which is the Tier 1 and 2 for the mentor program and the small business federal program. where the applicants can pull down the application and submit their applications to us. We've put together the front-end bid documents for our projects. We have already worked that out with each of the agencies. As a starting point, we used the Small Business Mentoring Program and added the federal requirements to it. The procedures for the program, half of them have been developed and agreed to with the agencies, which is up to the award of a project. The other half we're working on. We have had several meetings. We should be finalizing them in the coming weeks. We have received 7 complete applications for this program, which are under review, and we should be shortly finishing their review and accepting these applications. Agencies are working on a commitment plan. Our goal is to put $10 million worth of projects in the first year of this program. The payment and performance bond requirements, we are working on with MTA Legal and MTA Risk Management to work out the details of offering the bond program to the potential contractors in this program. And our goal is to award our first project in the first quarter of 2013. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Thank you very much. Next item of business is the status report. Hillary, capital program. The lights, please.
Regarding commitments and completions, in November we would normally review commitments and completions through October, but due to Hurricane Sandy, agency staffs weren't able to complete that update, so we just kept the commitments and completions through September in the book, and we'll update you in next month, bring you up to date. We're reporting on 45 major commitments through the end of September. 26 of these 45 were delivered on or near goal. 6 occurred late, and 13 other projects are late and not yet achieved. Through September, agencies have committed $3.5 billion, which is about 86% of the commitment plan. It's important to note that at least some projects, one in particular, a $250 million signal job, might be at risk of slipping into 2013, so it's not clear that we'll end up making the full goal for the year. For 2000 through September 2012, we're reporting on 44 major completions through August. Of these, 23 were delivered on or close to goal, 4 were completed but were late, and 17 others are still in the works. Through September, agencies have completed $3.9 billion of work, and they're forecasting a completion rate of 94% compared to plan. Any questions? Okay.
All right. Session. Can I ask for a motion to go in? Ken? Subject. All right.